we crowned Ohio State as our 2024-25 football national champions after the first year ever of this 12-team college football playoff. So what's next on the college football calendar? Spring football. Right now, a lot of programs are in it, and a lot of them end with the spring game. Those games, they actually start, Coach, March 1st. Liberty has a game March 1st, runs all the way to May 2nd. Washington has their spring game. Coaches, certainly fans, love spring football. I know the coaching staff loves it because so much happens in it. So tell us, from a coaching perspective, what purpose does spring football and maybe that spring game at the end serve the program?
Well, it depends on your team. You know, if you're taking over Bowling Green, it's scrimmage every day. There weren't the rules that it was back then that there are now. But if you're taking over a program that's, like the Ohio State last year and the Wolverines the year before, where you're a veteran team, man, you're not hitting much at all. I used to have a 2,000 club and a 1,000 club, and a 1,000 club that means you have 1,000 competitive reps. You're basically a starter for a year. When you're a starter for a year, we start pulling you back early in spring practice. If you're a 2,000 rep club, that means you're a 2-year, legitimate 2-year starter that plays a lot of reps. You're not getting hit in the spring. I used to have a list of them because I want the other players to see that too. There used to be just kind of back guys off, but I want players to be rewarded. You're a 2-year starter. The last thing you need is spring practice. You need to just get stronger, faster, get that body in shape, unless there's a certain skill set that you need to work on. For example, I'm an outside linebacker, I'm moving an inside linebacker. Then you need to get reps. I'm an outside receiver, moving inside receiver. Then you got to get reps. If you're playing the same position, those guys didn't get many reps, and I promise you they didn't get hit. So it depends on the team, depends on the player. And then I'm finding out after my visit to Oregon last year for spring practice, it really depends on this NIL and the transfer thing is real, and spring practice is impacted by it. For example, Oregon last year, Dan Lanning, I was asking about, say, where's your first string? Why is the offensive line not together? And he made a comment, or his assistant did, that we don't put them all together because, first of all, we want to give everybody an opportunity. Second of all, if you start naming a kid a first string or second string or third string, that third string might leave. Leave during spring practice, which
during that practice
caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And then, you hear Matt Rule, who's going to visit us here shortly. He's going to maybe not do the spring game because he's worried about showcasing players for other schools to come and try to get. Maybe not the starters, but some backup plays well. And I promise you, other schools, they have transfer portal staffs now. And you know what the transfer portal staffs do? They watch the lower level programs. They can go get a starter, or they can go watch like in Nebraska and see a backup. I need that receiver to come start for me. So it's really an amazing time of college football.
We're going to get to that Matt Rule comment in just a second. I wanted to follow up on spring drills, and you're talking about the 1,000 snaps and the 2,000 snap guys. What about when you have a legit competition? And obviously the main competition typically is a quarterback competition. So if you have a quarterback competition, and you should always theoretically have some level of quarterback competition, I get it. But when that starter is gone and you've got 2, 3, 4 cats fighting to who's going to be number one in the fall, how do you manage that in the spring?
Well, we had a really famous one. We had Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins. And it was right. First of all, it's great because you got 2 great players. But I made sure our quarterback coach charted every play. Every competitive snap was charted because I knew both these players were probably going to be NFL players. Joe Burrow put in his time. He broke his hand the year before. Dwayne Haskins came in, became the backup, he went in the game we were losing to the Wolverines and won the game. So he was kind of the projected starter, but I wanted to make sure that everything was charted and it was very close. So that's a whole different animal, especially at that position and especially as high profile. Plus, the player deserves that. You're going to make a decision on a player's career. You better have some data in front of them and make sure that that data has been worked over. And when you have a conversation with the families, it's not just, hey, I feel this guy should be the starter. Here's what we got. And it was, you go back to that time, and it was extremely close. And we named Dwayne right after spring practice because I didn't want to lose Joe. But we felt Joe should have that opportunity, and I'm going to LSU and being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.